and a huge welcome to this week's Postgrad Festival. Now, today we're joined by the University of Aberdeen, who will be doing a Study in Scotland special, but there will be many different sessions throughout the week focusing on different themes and different areas about why it's best to study in the UK. Just before I hand you over to Emily, a reminder that this is a live session. If you have any questions or concerns, please put it in the Q&A or the chat facility. If you're watching on demand and you have any questions or concerns, please email myself, Gareth at postgradsolutions.com. But without keeping you waiting too much longer, I'd like to hand you over to Emily Findlay. She's Regional Manager for one of the regions at the University of Aberdeen. Emily, over to you, and I will see you for the Q&A at the end.
Okay, hopefully you can all see my screen. Welcome to the University of Aberdeen Study in Scotland Postgrad Solutions webinar today. My name is Emily Findlay. I'm the Regional Manager for Sub-Saharan Africa and Southeast Asia here at the university. And I'm also joined by my colleagues Joe and Peter, who will be doing the question and answer session at the end. So if you have any questions as we go along, as Gareth said, today is a live session, so please pop your queries in the chat box or feel free to ask at the end. Okay, so even although I'm from the University of Aberdeen, I will be giving you a broad overview of why you should come to study in Scotland, and then I'll go on a little bit later to give you some more information about my university as well. So why Scotland? We are a very small country, but we have some amazing history and so much to offer you as an international student. Scotland has a world-renowned education system, we have top-class universities, and we have an amazing reputation for producing creative thinkers. We have a long, very, very long history of higher education excellence with 4 of the 7 ancient universities based in Scotland. Those are St Andrews, Glasgow, Aberdeen, and Edinburgh. I'm sure you've heard of some of those. Even although we are a very small country, there's about 5 million of us live in Scotland. We have created many of the inventions that you use in everyday life today. For example, the television. Where would you be without that? The telephone, we even created the MRI scanner, the flushing toilet, fingerprinting, mammal cloning. So even although we're really small, we have a huge focus on education and we care deeply about this, and we produce some of the world's best thinkers. So if you are interested at all in studying amazing things like science, law, engineering, Scotland is definitely somewhere that you need to consider. We are a very warm and welcoming nation. We have about 50,000 international students from over 180 countries. Scotland loves welcoming students, particularly in the months of September and January. This is where we have our main intakes, so lots of students arrive at this point. Our cities are bustling with different types of people, and it's just a really, really exciting environment. And I like to think that we're very friendly and very welcoming, so you definitely wouldn't have any problems feeling out of place if you came to Scotland. There are lots of options at Scottish universities. You can study at a campus university, a city university. There are smaller cities, larger cities, and there are also rural and urban options as well. And many universities offer all different types of placements, and some of those, again, can be rural and urban, particularly if you're coming to study things like medicine. This is hopefully a video focusing on the University of Aberdeen, and it gives you lots of images of beautiful Scotland and the surrounding countryside. I'm not sure if it's going to play, so bear with me just 1 second. Okay, it doesn't look like it's going to play. Apologies about that, but I'm sure at the end we can share the video with you all in the chat box, and you can go on to have a look at that in your own time. It really is worth a look. Many of the Scottish universities highlight our beautiful countryside, our castles, our history, and our culture, that if you were to come and live here and study here, you would definitely be engrossed and absorbed in all of the amazing things that we have to offer. The university at a glance. So these are just some statistics for you, and there's more on the following pages, so I'll give you a rough overview of them. We are in the global top 40 for environmental impact. Scotland cares very, very deeply about environmental impact, and there are lots and lots of sustainability goals that the university and the government, along with all other Scottish universities, we try to come together to meet those goals. So yes, that's really interesting. And our university, as I said, we are the 5th oldest university in the English-speaking world, so we've been established for a very, very long time. Lots of our buildings are very old and historic and beautiful looking, a little bit like Hogwarts, but we also have a large emphasis on being very modern and impactful. So we're currently regenerating our campus and building lots of new buildings, and you'll see this at every Scottish university. We want to continue to encourage growth from all over the world, so it's important that we make our learning spaces really open and beautiful, and that's definitely something that we all strive for. We offer all different types of subjects, from arts and humanities, business, social sciences, law. Law was actually the first subject to be taught at Aberdeen University, and so we've been doing that for a very long time. And we are very highly ranked for that subject as well. We offer engineering, geosciences, life sciences, and the big one, medicine. If you would like to have a look a little bit on our website, you can go to www.abdn.ac.uk for more info after this session. Tuition fees vary from degree to degree depending on your fee status. So we might have some people joining today's call who are living in a different country, who are very international. There might be international students residing in the UK. It's very hard for me to tell you your fees based on a quick conversation. You would need to speak to our admissions team, and it's the same with every other university as well. We also offer funding options. If you have a look on our funding pages, you'll see if there's scholarships available to you. We do have an Aberdeen Global Scholarship, which gives a tuition fee discount to many, many nationalities, so please do check that out. And lots of other universities will offer this as well. For postgraduate, we're mainly looking for the equivalent of a 2-2 or a 2-1 degree, depending on the course, of course, and depending on work experience. The university's history, as I said, 5th oldest, so we are very old. In 1497, we became the first university in the English-speaking world to have a chair in medicine. So we, again, have been doing this for a very long time. We are associated with 5 Nobel Prize winners. We have a dedicated campus that we opened in the Gulf state of Qatar. And we've won many awards over the years for our excellence. So you definitely would be coming to study in a place that is rich in education and would give you a wonderful experience. Our reputation, we're 13th in the UK and highest rising top 20 UK university. So as I said, we are trying year on year to better ourselves by improving our campus, our learning spaces, the teaching environment, and also the information that we provide you as students as well. We care very much about your experience on campus, so student satisfaction is massive to us. We want to make sure that not only you get the best time in your studies, but you also have the best time in general, making friends, joining clubs and societies. It's really important that when you come overseas to study, that you become not only engrossed in your studies, but a really well-rounded individual as well. That's what's going to help you get a job at the end of the day. So having a great degree, but also having other things to add to your CV will definitely help. And Scotland is rich in many, many different things that can help add to your CV. We are 5th in Scotland for research power, and we're a global top 200 university according to the World University Rankings 2023. Our teaching excellence, we, as I said, care deeply about this. We're second across Scotland for the student satisfaction survey, particularly during the era of COVID. We placed a high emphasis on making sure our students' health and well-being came first and foremost. And we are 3rd in the UK for course satisfaction as well. I should also say that when you're looking at universities, having a look at all the different types of rankings is useful. There are hundreds on offer, so making sure that you're really well equipped and arming yourself with as much knowledge about each university is really important to making sure that you're making an informed choice for you. So look at the websites, look at the rankings, look at lots of pictures, look at universities' Instagram pages, their Facebook pages. All of that will provide you a wealth of knowledge about what each university has on offer. Aberdeen City and Aberdeen Shire. So I am currently in Aberdeen City. That's where the university is located. But the area surrounding the city is called Aberdeen Shire, often shortened to the Shire. And it has lots of beautiful small villages and towns with so much on offer. And I would definitely say that no matter where you go to study, not only should you explore the city or the town that you go to, you should also make an effort to go to other cities and towns as well, because the UK is very well connected. Its infrastructure is excellent. We have trains, buses, and airports dotted all over the UK, so it's really easy to get around. Aberdeen is located up here in the northeast of Scotland. We do have an international airport, so we are very accessible. You can fly to London, to Amsterdam, and from there you can connect on to the rest of the world. Our campus is about a 15-minute drive to the airport, and as I say, it's really, really easily connected. British Airways and KLM fly in, and sometimes students who choose to come and study with us do prefer to fly KLM so that they can do the immigration process in Aberdeen and miss out the stressfulness of Heathrow. But that is a personal opinion, and it's just to give you another option. And this is to show you globally where we're located. So even although we are just a tiny little dot on that map, we do have so much to offer, and we are very easy to get to. Now, I wonder if this video is going to play. Let's see. Okay, I don't think this one's going to play either. Hopefully my colleagues can pop this in the chat box for you as well. Our home in Aberdeen. So I'm not originally from Aberdeen. I'm from the south of Scotland, and I moved up here about 10 years ago, and I absolutely love it. It has everything that a large city has to offer, but on a smaller scale. It is so beautiful. It has an amazing coastline, a beautiful beach, and the weather is beautiful today as well, which I feel very lucky about. We're currently in the summer here, coming into autumn. And we do experience all 4 seasons in Scotland, no matter which city you're based in. But as an international student, this can be really enjoyable because many of you are coming from extreme heat or extreme cold. And that's part of the international experience, is also figuring out what it's like weather-wise to live in a different country. We were ranked in top 20 in the New York Times list as a must-see global destination. We also have a very low crime rate, and as a female, I definitely feel very safe in Aberdeen. We're also a very affordable student city, so that's definitely something to consider. And Scotland in general, apart from the major cities, is also very affordable. There are more castles per acre in Aberdeenshire than anywhere else in the British Isles. So if you're into that kind of thing, we definitely have lots and lots of those on offer. And a fun fact is Aberdeen is actually 1 degree warmer than the Scottish average and enjoys half the annual rainfall of Miami. The university's campuses, so King's College campus is our main campus. That's where I'm located just now. That's where you would study humanities programs, engineering, computing, some science programs. And then we have Forester Hill Medical Health Campus, which is the largest medical health campus in Europe and has amazing facilities for things like medicine, anatomy, immunology, immunotherapy, things like that. We have a Qatar campus for Qatari nationals. We have a Cromarty Lighthouse, which is very cool. It's a field station for marine ecology and resource management. And we also have a national decommissioning centre because Aberdeen is the energy, oil and gas capital of Europe. Our campus, where I am located just now, is a 20-minute walk from the city centre. Everything in Aberdeen is relatively easy to get to because we are a slightly smaller city. We are based in a very historic part of the city, so we have beautiful cobbled streets and old buildings. And we also have an amazing library, which is a big glass box on the outside and an amazing kind of twister on the inside. And we have an Olympic standard sports village as well. So that's about a 2-minute walk from campus. It is available at a very discounted, reasonable rate for students, and it is home to the best sports facilities ever. The health campus, as I said, it's huge. If you do choose to come and study something medical related, almost all of our teaching professionals are clinicians. So they will have had some sort of health background working in a hospital environment, or they might have been working in the hospital in the morning and then teaching you in the afternoon. So you're learning from firsthand, very, very experienced professionals. And we also have awesome amenities and departments providing excellent teaching and training facilities. Like every other Scottish university, as I said at the beginning, we really care about kind of investing in our campus and pushing forward for the future. We are investing over £100 million in campus, and this has helped build a brand new science technology teaching hub with state-of-the-art laboratory spaces. It's designed specifically for chemistry courses and science programs. We're in the middle of a new business school development, hopefully due in 2024. And hopefully by 2025, the entire campus, where I'm located in Kings, will have been transformed. So all of the old buildings on the inside will have been regenerated and will look very new and modern and fresh. The Science Technology Teaching Hub is so cool. I had a tour of it recently, and it is an amazing space for those of you that are interested in chemical programs. The project cost was 37.7 million, and we have multifunction spaces for public engagement as well. Our student experience across Scotland is very, very important to us. We really want to provide an exciting and supportive learning environment for all. And so we have a huge emphasis on our graduate outcomes as well, because the aim of the game is for you to come and study with us, to have an amazing time, to get an awesome degree, and then to go on, hopefully, to employment and to find your dream job. So 93% of undergraduate leavers are in employment after 15 months of graduation, and 95% of postgrad students. So these are excellent statistics. Student life. I also mentioned that becoming a well-rounded student is really, really important. So from the minute you step on campus, whether that's Aberdeen, somewhere else in Scotland, or somewhere else globally, please take advantage of everything that a university has to offer you. They will all have things like study abroad options, student unions where you can join clubs and societies and make new friends. We have an international centre where you can share lots of things about your home country with other people, so you can help and educate us about your culture. Each university will have a career service. Please approach them, and they will give you advice about your CV, about interview techniques, and also about part-time jobs and how these can also add benefit to your CV as well. As an international student coming to study in Scotland, you are entitled to work up to 20 hours per week on your student visa. Obviously, the main aim is to come and study with us, but getting a part-time job can sometimes be useful, as this again adds to your CV, helps you make friends, build your confidence, and also helps you understand our culture a little bit better. Our alumni, so we have a global Aberdeen family. Our alumni are dotted about the place everywhere. We have over 120,000 graduates currently living in 202 countries around the world, so that's pretty cool. Over 10,000 graduates have supported the university philanthropically through donations to the University of Aberdeen Development Trust, and over the last 3 years alone, alumni have generously supported 1,159 students through funding, which is amazing. So there are lots of different options after you study to still become part of the Aberdeen University family. These posters here are very focused on West Africa, but there are many different posters available, and it shows where our students have gone on to work afterwards. So I know that we have lots of people that have gone on to work in the energy industry. We have some that have gone on to work for Disney, really high-class law firms. If you go to our website and type in from Aberdeen to, the whole list will come up. So you'll get a real understanding of where some of our graduates have gone on to work. And that is a real brief run through of the University of Aberdeen and Scotland. I'll now pass over to my colleagues who will hopefully take questions for you. Please do, as I say, look at each university's website, look at their social media pages. All of these will help make an informed decision. It's been really great chatting to you today. Thank you very much.
Emily, thank you. A great session. All the information in there that we need as well, so it's brilliant. So look, there's been a few questions come in, and I suppose I better start with a couple of them. Joe, I think one of them is going to be for you. So before we get going, I'd like to introduce, obviously, Joe. He's head of international at the University of Aberdeen. And we've also got Peter, who's international marketing officer as well. So Emily will also be taking questions that you've just heard from. So Joe, one of the questions that came in was in relation to scholarships and funding naturally. And one of them will pay particular attention to Chevening, I believe. Now, I know you guys accept Chevening scholars and accept those applications. Talk to me about the importance of taking on Chevening scholars to you guys, and also how a student goes about applying for that, and if you take them.
So yeah, we absolutely do work with Chevening and are always delighted to get Chevening scholars, some of the most highly qualified, highly skilled students anywhere in the sector. So absolutely, always a delight. I think my colleague Peter has put the link to Chevening in the chat, but absolutely that's a route for us. Institutionally, we do also offer a pretty wide range of scholarships. So check out our funding database. We have a range of different scholarships that are often linked by market. So depending on which country you come from, you will have different access to different types of scholarships. So searching the funding database is the way to go, and Peter has linked that in the chat. I noticed one of the people in the chat were talking about Ghana in particular, and we do get a lot of students through GSS funding, the Ghanaian government funding. So that's certainly an opportunity that's open, and we are. This is hot off the press. We haven't officially announced this yet, but we are increasing our scholarship for students from South Asia and Africa for the January intake. So keep a close eye on the university announcements for more information on that soon.
Sure. I don't want to go into funding too much, because I think there's so many different options and opportunities for students all over the world with different options depending on the countries you're from. But I think it's important to note that post-COVID, more and more international students are now traveling and prepared to travel to countries that they weren't perhaps prepared to do over COVID. Can I just talk about specifically Scottish funding? Because I know it's what separates Scotland from many other countries, especially in the UK. If you're an international student or even a student from Scotland, what funding there is available to students that are looking just perhaps going to Scotland and Scotland only?
So Scotland itself is a country that absolutely prides itself on education. Education is a fundamental cornerstone of Scottish society, really. So for Scottish students, this is different from the rest of the UK, but if you're a Scottish student in the UK, you have an access to free education. So you don't pay tuition fees if you're a Scottish student staying within Scotland. And that to me is a really positive and powerful example of why Scotland is maybe a little bit different from the rest of the UK. Like I say, Scottish Scotland really prides itself on that quality of education, and that's why so many Scottish universities are so highly ranked, despite being a nation of only 5 million people. We do have some Scotland-wide scholarships. The Saltire Scholarship is a well-established funding option, and Scottish institutions generally do really support their international community with high quality funding options. The other thing to really consider, so obviously funding impacts your tuition fees generally, but you do have to think about the wider costs of your education. So not just the headline tuition fees, but your cost of living, what your day-to-day allowance is going to need to be. And Scotland is often a sensible choice in that respect as well. So quite a few Scottish institutions and Scottish cities have a lower than average cost of living. So maybe cheaper rentals or cheaper living costs generally. So Scotland is a very pragmatic, sensible choice. It tends to give you good value for money and an exceptionally high quality overall.
Excellent. And I just want to touch upon the the cost of living. I think that's a really important point, because too many times people come on and just think, oh, Scotland, it's not going to be as expensive as England. Of course, if you go to one of the major cities, the likes of Edinburgh and Glasgow, it's going to be a touch more expensive. But Emily, I think I'll come to you on this point. I think you mentioned in your presentation that you're from the south of Scotland, and then obviously gone up to Aberdeen. How important is it to note that it's a lot more affordable than the key major cities, let's say, that are otherwise mentioned in the UK, and therefore, how does it make it so great to live for international students?
When I said that, I definitely think that in general, we've been given the amazing statistic of being a very affordable city. In comparison to other Scottish cities, obviously we're not the capital, Edinburgh is. With capital cities comes an inflated cost. So we are definitely more reasonable in price in comparison to places like Edinburgh. But in general, the living cost in Scotland, I think, is affordable for a student. And obviously having the correct amount of funds in your bank account when you come across is really, really important. But there is the option of working to get a little bit extra pocket money on the side, which again is great for students.
Okay, and I want to touch upon, and I'll open this up to anyone on the panel really, the importance of the infrastructure around. One of the huge benefits that you've got, not being not being a capital city and being a little bit out of the way, is you have got an international airport not far away, pretty much within the city. How important is that to international students to be able to connect to their family, to not feel isolated, especially with COVID having just been and gone as well? Is that a huge coup when it comes to obviously international students looking at where they want to study? Joe, if I can open it up to yourself to begin with, and again, is there anything that you guys do to help? During COVID, were you there? Perhaps I know some unis were waiting with their hand cap in hand, waiting to help take the students to campus and make them feel more at home at their accommodation. If their language isn't great, helping them get on board. What do you offer?
So I think that's a really, really good question. I guess now we're moving out of COVID and probably not needing to reflect on COVID so much. But the general support and the lifestyle that you get at an institution like Aberdeen is fantastic. So it is smaller in scale. It is a university of about 15 to 16,000 rather than 40 to 50,000 at some other bigger institutions. The student population is a really high percentage of the wider city. So there's two universities in Aberdeen. There's Aberdeen University, which is the very traditional 500-year-old, really Harry Pottery, Hogwartsy institution. There's also Robert Gordon's University, which is a modern institution, and the two of them really impact city life considerably. So we've got a young population. We've got lots of student-orientated activities within the city. The support network is very much there to give students the opportunity to flourish. For me as an Aberdonian, so I grew up literally on campus. My family home is 200 meters from the main university King's College building. So even, I'm in my 40s now. I know I look like I'm in my 60s, but I'm in my 40s, and it was part of my life growing up. When I was in primary school, I benefited from, although being in a small city in the northeast of Scotland, I had kids in my class from Pakistan, Bangladesh, from Thailand, from Ethiopia, from Uganda, and now I'm in a position where my kids have just experienced the same. So they're in classes in primary school, very, very close to the university. Their best friends are from Thailand, from Nigeria, and that's such a powerful thing. That diversity. People maybe don't think that a small city in the northeast of Scotland is going to have that level of diversity. But it's very, very much part of the culture. Aberdeen is also it has been an absolute cornerstone of the oil industry. So huge influx of people from all over the globe to work in the oil and gas sector. And that really makes Aberdeen a very, very cosmopolitan place. Great restaurants, great nightlife, very multicultural, lots of arts, lots of culture. And it's a real small scale. So everything is really within walking distance. Campus to the city centre is a 15-20 minute walk. Campus to the beach is a 15-20 minute walk. And although you're not going to do much sunbathing on Aberdeen Beach, the chance to see dolphins, to see seals, to enjoy some really, really good world cuisine, tasty restaurants, that's phenomenal. And the airport is an international airport. There are flights to global hubs very, very easily. It's an hour's flight to London. It's an hour and a half to Amsterdam. That airport is just a 15-minute drive from campus, so you can connect very, very easily from our campus, from our accommodation to the rest of the world. And that's a big thing. Peter started off as a student here. He came and did his masters. I won't speak too much for you, Peter. I'll let you come in. But that connectivity and opportunity to get back home is something that our students really value, and particularly in the COVID era, where people were having to make decisions and move quickly and reacting to changing circumstance. But Aberdeen is well connected globally for sure.
Peter, would you like to elaborate further? I'm just conscious we haven't heard from you much. I'd like to obviously open it up to you a little bit. Obviously, you focus a lot on the region of Asia, and particular China, I believe. And with China, I don't want to keep mentioning COVID, but we're just coming outside of that post-COVID world, in particular for China, where it's been an extended and a long period of time where things seem to be getting back to what we used to call normal. Is that important to note, that obviously to Chinese students, it's a multicultural city, it's well connected, it's a great place to study, it's affordable. All these points add up to you personally, having studied there as well?
Yeah, definitely. First, I just want to echo, like Joe said, Aberdeen is a small city, but with everything. And it's amazing. You have all the restaurant and the cinema, museum just in your doorstep. And if you want to go to the beach, enjoying a peaceful morning with a nice coffee, it's only take you about 10 minutes to do so. So that is really amazing. My hometown is Beijing, where it's a big city, and I feel the lifestyle is totally different. But I will feel like Aberdeen is a really, really good choice for lots of people. And also in the past, if I remember correctly, the 5 years, Aberdeen has been ranked from all these UK national student certification survey, top 5 in the UK. So obviously, students is very happy with the support being given from the university, and we do have student support. We have the career and employability surveys. We have the counseling surveys. So especially for the international students, there's lots of knowledge gap when they first relocated to somewhere else, and obviously, the Asian culture is quite different with the UK. But yeah, in here, there's a different team to support students. We also have the international student advisor take care about the visa, immigration advice. So yeah, I mean, the universities work as a team to give the student support. And as an international before, no, I do really enjoying the life. No, that's why I haven't run away. Now I already stay in Aberdeen for more than 10 years, and I have no plan to relocate somewhere else. No, at this moment. So yeah, I'm really happy. I'm sure all the students will be very happy as well. And also also I have to mention is the Aberdeen University Student Association. It's a student-run organization or department, we can see, but they provide the student for student. They speak for student, and literally, it's an individual department organization, but it's do everything about the student as well. And if notice our website, I think by 2 weeks time, or is our new student welcome week. Also, we'll have a lot of activity organized for students, different societies, support interest, culture, and different themes. And they have game night. They have everything you can imagine from a UK university. It's a very good place to check it out. Yeah.
Excellent. I hate doing this. It makes me want to be a student again, which isn't the worst thing in the world. But Joe, I just want to touch upon something important. I've made a note, actually. You mentioned the gas and oil sector. And Aberdeen being well renowned, in particular in the UK, for having close connections to that sector in that field. And again, Emily mentioned alumni earlier. What partnerships and things do you have in place so that when a student finishes their master's degree and even before that you're well connected, there's opportunities for students on a domestic and an international level to go on and be part of such great companies? Does that mean that the bigger companies, the bigger gas and oil companies, are based in Aberdeen or have partnerships there? How does that work, and what opportunities arise?
So that's a really good question again. So one of the things that I would definitely recommend to students is really keep the long term in your mind. So moving countries, moving to the other side of the world in many cases is a huge change. It's it can be completely overwhelming at times when you're changing culture. You're having this opportunity to see so much new and exciting stuff, but you've got to keep that focus on the bigger picture and what your long-term objectives are. So really, when you get to university, getting to grips with the career services, the different advice and support that's available to you, taking advantage of the activities that are there in Welcome Week, which a lot of Welcome Week is about signposting the internal support that's there for you. Yes, we do have connection with the oil and gas sector. Yes, there's lots and lots of oil related and renewable related, increasingly, industry within Aberdeen. But you're not just looking at the opportunities within Aberdeen City. A degree from the University of Aberdeen gives you an opportunity to be absolutely a global citizen. You're going to be in demand across the world for the skills that you develop with a UK and a Scottish education. So it is really about identifying what you want in the big picture. Do you want to take advantage of the post-study work visa? Yeah, lots and lots of international students are heavily motivated by that, but many more are thinking longer term. Where do they want to be in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years time, and checking out the infrastructure that's here through our career services to get those connections, to get those opportunities, and to develop those skills that are going to make you stand out in the market, whatever sector you're engaged in. That's really important. So do give it some thought early on, which I know is challenging when you've got so many other things bubbling about. But there's plenty of support there for you.
Okay, and Emily, I want to come back to yourself and your presentation. You alluded to, I think, Fee being the 5th oldest university around the world, or having the 5th oldest buildings, one or the other. Obviously, trying to put a modern spin on it these days as well has a nice blend. Talk to me about the different options that are available, because people might look at this and go, I can't make it to Scotland. I want to do an online course. Are those options available? And have you got campuses in other cities around the world? Is that an option?
So you can study online with us. During COVID, that COVID obviously was an awful time, but it did mean that we had to go quickly with putting lots of our programs online. And so we do have many, many options available. So please do check out the website, especially for postgraduate students. We have postgrad options. You can do PG Cert, PG Dips. You can do short courses as well. So there are all different kinds of options available to you. We do have a campus in Qatar, but this is only for Qatari nationals at the moment. And if you do apply to us, there obviously, and you don't have the funding, etc., there is the option to defer, and we are here to support you until you are ready to come to study with us. But people like myself, Joe, Peter, we travel around the world. We visit all different countries. So you might find that we are in Ghana, Nigeria. You can come and meet us face to face, and we can provide you with all different types of information and support to help guide your journey across to Scotland.
Excellent. That's really important as well. Putting names to faces, you know, regular faces that you see on webinars like this, you know, you're going to go and see them in person. You go to fairs and you see the same face again. It just helps add that familiarity with the university and the consistency. So that's great. So I want to wrap things up with one final question. It's been touched upon already, is accommodation. What are the accommodation options for students looking to come to Aberdeen? How should they go about applying for that? And where are the properties in relation to the university? You know, there's many cities that you go into, and you know, I won't name the cities, but you go and sit on the outskirts of the city and you've got to travel in. It makes it less affordable. Again, I keep using that word affordable, but it's very key. And then there's others that you're sat slap bang in the middle of campus. So Joe, do you want to just explain where students will go, and do you try your hardest to help a student with that?
So we definitely recommend the university accommodation. The university accommodation is affordable. It's very sort of nurturing and supportive environment. For undergraduate students, most of our undergraduate students would stay in a small student village, which houses between 1,000 and 2,000 students. And it's a great space for people new to the city. Great opportunity to meet new friends. And like I say, it's very affordable. We've got plenty of accommodation on and around campus through the institution as well. But Aberdeen is really blessed with a lot of available student accommodation too. So it really depends on your price point. It depends on your expectations, what you're looking for. But the access and opportunity is not an issue in Aberdeen. There's plenty of accommodation available and at various price points. So it's a good option on that front. And everything in Aberdeen is like I say, is in walking distance. You know, it's a very compact city. It's a decent size. There is lots going on. The High Street, the Union Street in the city centre, loads and loads of restaurants and nightlife there. Couple of big shopping centres too. But accommodation very close to the campus, 5 minutes walk or less, is freely available to our students.
Excellent. And finally, to wrap things up, obviously this session being filmed in August 23. When are your next intakes? Presumably you have obviously 2024 September intake, but do you have any earlier ones now? Do you have a January intake? Are you still taking applications for this September, October, perhaps?
Yep. So for postgrad top courses, we have 2 intakes each year, so September and January. Really extensive range of courses available in January. It's not quite a full replication of our September intake, but it's very close to that. So very comprehensive range of January starts. PGR, we're fairly flexible on start dates with them. We do prefer students to come at certain points in the cycle, but you know, we can work around your needs as well. But yeah, two main intakes in September and January.
Super. Emily, Joe, Peter, thanks for your time. Really appreciated. But a great session. Hopefully we can do this again at some point next year. But for now, thank you for your time. Just a reminder to anyone that's watching that has registered, you are able to apply for one of our bursaries that Postgrad Solutions kindly hands out £500 to 20 different students throughout the year. Now, there are different sectors to which students can win: full-time, part-time, online students. So no matter what your mode of study is, where you're studying, what you want to study, there is an opportunity for you to win that. But for now, a huge thank you. This will be on the screen for the time being in case you have any more questions. It does explain it there. Emily, Peter, and Joe, thank you for your time, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you.